All right, back here with Avery and Gary, and let's welcome in CBS Sports NBA draft analyst Kyle Boone here to talk winners and losers from day 2 of the draft. Kyle, start with you. Who was your big winner here in round 2?
It's the New York Knicks, baby. Tyler Kolek falling to number 34. This was a guy who I had top 20 on my big board going into the NBA draft. Surprised he fell out of the top 20. Surprised that he fell out of the first round. And a huge gift for the New York Knicks, adding to their backcourt depth. This is someone who, as you mentioned, led college basketball in assists last season, falls to number 34. And then they also, at pick number 56, get Kevin McCullough, who we had as a top 40 prospect at CBS Sports, ended up falling to nearly an undrafted prospect, and someone who I think both of these guys will end up being NBA ready for a Knicks team that I think is competing at the top of the East right now.
I got a little bit of an unconventional answer because it's not a player specifically, but a college basketball coach I think was a big winner today in the second round, and that's Dan Hurley at UConn because he got his 2 other starters selected. Tristan Newton was picked, Cam Spencer was picked. This comes after Stephon Castle and Donovan Clingan both went in the top 10 yesterday. So Alex Karaban, the 5th UConn starter, he went back to school, but most people believe had he remained in this draft, he would have been selected as well. But either way, when we look back at this incredible UConn team that just blew through the NCAA tournament, we'll know that 4 of those guys who started were selected in the subsequent NBA draft, and Karaban will probably join them next year. It just sort of reinforces the idea that, you know, Dan Hurley is not only running the best basketball program in the country, but he and his staff have been great at taking players and turning them into better NBA prospects than anybody thought they were before they arrived on that campus. This is a huge recruiting tool to use going forward, and I'm confident he'll be using it over and over again.
Last night we talked about Donovan Clingan's mom, who unfortunately passed away 6 years ago, and how he dedicates his basketball on the court and off the court, his lifestyle, to her. We have another mom, Katrina Christie, that's really excited, along with her husband, Max Christie Sr. You know why? Her son Cameron got drafted by the Los Angeles Clippers, and then her son Max plays for the Los Angeles Lakers. So she gets a 2-for-1, baby, when she goes to Los Angeles. Both of her sons, back-to-back years, second-round picks. And how exciting is that for a mom and her husband and her entire family? And they're playing in La La Land.
That's terrific.
Man, that's terrific.
Look at all the emotions we have here on this desk. Kyle, what do you got in terms of your biggest loser on day 2 of the draft? Because we just got all emotional there in our feelings, which is really cool when you talk about the history that has been accomplished on this day. But your biggest loser, who disappointed you the most here in round 2?
Yeah, for me, Hakeem, it's the Milwaukee Bucks. They ended up picking at number 33 and selecting Tyler Smith out of the G League Ignite. This is someone who I think has a high ceiling, but I don't think is ready to be an NBA contributor right now. And the Milwaukee Bucks made a similar pick in round 1. They selected A.J. Johnson out of the NBL. 2 guys who they picked inside the top 40 who, for a team with Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think they're ready to compete. And obviously this is a team that has won a championship together. Neither of these guys really fit their timeline. A bit surprised that they made both of these picks. They're definitely young and they have a lot of talent. But in terms of where this team is, in terms of their timeline for contending and competing with Giannis, both surprised me in that they're picked inside the top 40 for the Bucks.
I'll go with a player specifically, and that player is Justin Edwards, the one-and-done freshman out of Kentucky, 6'7" wing who was the most heralded prospect in Kentucky's, heralded recruiting class, but he ended up just 6th on Kentucky in scoring, points per game, 6th in minutes played per game. I'm not shocked that he went undrafted relative to the conversations connected to him as the draft was drawing near. But you go back a year ago, and this is a guy people had in contention to be the #1 overall pick, probably a consensus top 5 pick. So to watch his freshman year go so terribly, then of course they get bounced out of the NCAA tournament early, and then he watches a whole bunch of players who weren't thought of nearly as highly as him a year ago get picked, and he gets left out of the whole deal. It's a humbling experience. He's still very young. All the talent that people loved a year ago, it's still, in theory there, but somebody's got to figure out a way to tap into it, because right now this is not a night he ever expected to experience.
Gary, how many picks did the Brooklyn Nets have?
There's so many trades, Coach, from 1 minute to the next.
That's my biggest loser.
Yeah.
And you know why? This is a franchise that's going nowhere fast. I was fortunate to be the coach there back in 2010 and 11 and part of 12. But what are they doing? What's the game plan? Are you trying to lose by trading all of your picks? Mikal Bridges.
They look like they're starting over.
Like they're starting over.
It's a rebuild.
Yeah.
It's a total rebuild.
Well, they tried with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. That didn't work, and now they're blowing
They tried another version of that.
Yep. And then they tried another.
They put Harden in it. They put Ben Simmons in it.
But even before that, they tried with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce.
Yep.
And those picks that they traded to Boston ended up being Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So that's my biggest loser today, the Brooklyn Nets.
I'm going to give you one real quick because you mentioned his name. It's sort of a biggest winner, biggest loser on the same team, the Memphis Grizzlies. Every day at practice, Cam Spencer's going to remind Zach Edey, we beat your ass in the national championship. Every single day. He's going to chirp him. He's going to yell, and he's going to fire up that roster because Cam Spencer is one of my favorite college basketball players that I watched this past season. He will chirp Zach all day, and then he'll make him better, and then it'll be better for the Memphis Grizzlies.
He's going to fit in perfectly in Memphis. I know it was a rough year with the Grizzlies because of injuries and a high-profile suspension, but they're still super young, super talented. They love to talk. Cam Spencer, he'll fit in well.
Gary Parrish, Avery Johnson, Kyle Boone here on CBS Sports HQ, and the work is just beginning for all the rookies. Summer League starts next weekend in California, followed by the Salt Lake City Summer League and the Vegas Summer League. Get in the gym and get to work.